George Kambosos Jr. is clearly the man with all the power in boxing's hottest division, because the unified lightweight champion is now fielding offers from two of the sport's biggest promoters. In one corner, Bob Arum of Top Rank wants him for a mega bout in Kambosos' home country of Australia against Arum's former champ, Vasyl Lomachenko. And in the other corner, Eddie Hearn is looking to take him to the Middle East for a possible showdown with his WBC champ Devin Haney for the undisputed title. After scoring the year's biggest upset against Teofimo Lopez, Kambosos now holds 3 of the 4 major titles. And with Lopez not giving him a rematch clause, his next fight is likely to be against one of these two men. Of the two, Lomachenko is the bigger name, and therefore the more lucrative opportunity. It's a fact Arum is keen to take advantage of, but there's an immediate obstacle to overcome. It would be a huge fight in Australia, but we have a COVID-19 problem to clear, which I think we can do, said Arum. This fight against Kambosos Jr. in Australia is my first choice for Loma. The downside to a bout with Loma is that the 2-time Olympic gold medalist and 3-division champ is arguably the harder fight. Kambosos might not want to take on the former pound-for-pound king in his first defense, especially at a stadium show down under. A bout with Haney would be no walk in the park, but it would be for the undisputed title. And Hearn says that's the real prize. For me, it's the only fight in the division. I know Top Rank is talking about Lomachenko against Kambosos. We need to wrap up this undisputed situation. We need to know who is the real champion. If it wasn't boxing, Hearn would be right. But this is boxing, and money usually speaks louder than words. So we could get either or neither of these fights next. Whichever way it goes, though, Kambosos is the new emperor, and he's set to become a very wealthy man. Speaking of Bob Arum and money, the welterweight champ Terence Crawford is suing Arum for millions of dollars on the basis of racial bias. The former top-rank fighter has filed a lawsuit against Arum, claiming that he continues to make racist and bigoted statements and purposefully damage the reputations of black boxers. And Bud doesn't stop there. Arum's sordid history with athletes of color, especially black fighters, and his bias favoring white and Latino fighters is well documented and known throughout the boxing world. Arum makes no secret of his deep-seated bias against black fighters. Crawford is seeking damages in excess of $5.4 million. This is for losses due to Top Rank failing to deliver him a second fight on his extended contract, and for not securing him a promised bout with fellow welterweight champ Errol Spence Jr. In response, Arum, a former lawyer himself, had this to say. Bud Crawford's lawsuit against Top Rank is frivolous. His vile accusations of racism are reckless and indefensible. He knows it, and his lawyer knows it. The 90-year-old promoter has worked with champions since the 1960s, including Muhammad Ali and Floyd Patterson, Sonny Liston, Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns, Oscar De La Hoya, and Floyd Mayweather. This, Arum believes, is enough of a defense. I have spent my entire working life as a champion of black boxers, Latino boxers, and other boxers of color. I have no doubt the court will see Crawford's case for the malicious extortion attempt that it is. What Arum failed to mention was the numerous times his fighters like Mayweather, De La Hoya, and now Terence Crawford have sued him. He also failed to mention the numerous times he's been accused of fight fixing, extortion, and bribery. But again, this is boxing. In fight news, junior lightweight champ Shakur Stevenson and Oscar Valdez are reportedly in the process of finalizing a deal for a unification bout this April. Stevenson has been lobbying for the fight since Valdez claimed the WBC title. But unable to secure the bout, he instead destroyed the WBO champ Jamel Herring in a career-best performance. After obliterating Miguel Berchelt for the WBC title, Valdez tested positive for a banned stimulant 1 month out from his first defense against Robson Conceição. The bout went ahead anyway, and Valdez struggled his way to a highly controversial split decision. If it all goes to plan, Stevenson versus Valdez for the WBO and WBC junior lightweight titles will go down at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Vegas this April 30. Joe Smith Jr. made his first defense of the WBO light heavyweight title with a TKO of the late replacement Steven Jeffrod, but only after 9 rounds of punishment. Jeffrod took the fight on just 8 days' notice after Callum Johnson withdrew due to a positive COVID-19 result. It was the 3rd time in the last year that Smith had a fight impacted by COVID, and it seemed like he was taking out his frustrations on the poor Jeffrod. Smith hurt him in round 5, and from there went for the kill. The late replacement did everything he could to not go down. But when Smith threw almost 700 punches in the 9 rounds and landed 172 power shots, there was only so much he could do. And 2-time unified heavyweight champ Anthony Joshua has hit the speaking circuit in Dubai for the 2022 Expo, and the Big Brit had a lot to say.
I belong on the big stage. I belong as a champion. I belong amongst the names of this current generation, and you'll see why.
AJ was as personable and charming as ever, even when asked about his recent loss to the new unified champ Alexander Usyk. While it was the 2nd loss of his career, he admitted it was the most painful.
If I didn't fight the best, I may not have lost. And I know people have high expectations of me as well. I think sometimes that's why they're shocked. And I have high expectations of myself as well, but this one hurt because I was 100%, no problems, everything was cool. Went in there and I just lost to the better man that night and it hurt, but it gave me motivation to pull myself out of that position where mentally it killed me, and I fought my way back, and I'll redeem myself.
For AJ, the Usyk fight wasn't even meant to be. He was originally scheduled to face the other heavyweight champ, Tyson Fury, in what would have been an all-British affair for the undisputed title. And that's the ultimate goal for AJ.
Yeah, so we were supposed to do that last year in August. We were supposed to have that fight, and then it fell through. Then I fought Usyk, and I feel like if I don't fight the guy I'm supposed to fight, I want the next best. And Usyk came up from cruiserweight, great fighter, 12-round fighter. I wanted to box with him for 12 rounds and show. Because I was always this stigma is that I can't box. I'm a big, stiff bodybuilder. So I said, all right, cool, let me practice my boxing. Try practice my boxing with Usyk. It didn't go with the decision. He won 9 rounds, I won 3. Next fight, I win, 4 more rounds, I win. So let me simplify that matter, and I'll then get on the road to being undisputed champion again.
Thanks for watching. And remember, if you want more fight sports in your life, just hit the subscribe button.